does it mean to be labeled as special, exceptional, mentally challenged? Or we have many terms for that. And on the basis of a single IQ test. Now, this was the case 20, 30 years ago. And once that label was applied, it stuck with the person for life. Okay, that was very bad. Okay, let's take a look at some of it, and then whatever we discuss now, all these may still have a lot of relevance nowadays. Label of mental retardation, like medical diagnosis, does not lead to an effective treatment. That is to say, the labeling is kind of negative. It does not lead to any positive outcome, right? Of course, now we don't do the labeling, okay? But then some other countries are still doing this, not in Canada, okay? The label has no educational relevance because let's say mental retardation. Well, this label has no educational relevance, but it's that we should kind of make it less negative, make it positive. Is that what the person can do? All right. So the label reviews disabilities, but conceals abilities. And this is all too true. It's only very recently, within the past decade, okay, that we and thanks to Howard Gardner, is that the brain can take on functions. Okay, if one area of the brain is destroyed or for some reason, okay, another area of the brain could take over. Okay, that type of thing. Anyway, here say schizophrenic patients, we only realized not too long ago, or maybe 10 years ago, that some of them are very good in music, some very good in mathematics, okay, that type of thing, right? So we shouldn't use one IQ score to apply to the whole person or to apply to all domains of what the person can do, okay? The label becomes permanent. So that was the bad old days. But in other countries, this is still the case. So the label, because it is like this here is negative, therefore this label generates negative expectations, and the self-fulfilling prophecy comes into play, okay, and haunt the individual forever. The behavior of special students, quote unquote, causes difficulties in interpersonal relationship, and a label can add to these difficulties. So we should realize this, okay? We should realize this. So all in all, in Canada, we have made a lot of progress in this regard, okay? Say at Nipissing, we have the SES, okay, the student services, and we are now progressing towards more positive arenas regarding all these. All right. So back in 1972, and it is still applicable nowadays, okay, to some institutions, to some other countries, according to Reynolds, okay. She did that IQ test scores are subject to examiner and culture biases. This is true. I remember there are far more white examiners than black examiners. And also, if you have studied the Army Alpha or even the Otis London Quick Score, all IQ tests have a very strong cultural bias, right? The tests themselves are not assessing the complete range of the child's functioning or of the person's functioning. And this is true. Most IQ tests, existing available IQ tests, they test only two categories, right? Linguistic and logical mathematical. I remember Howard Gardner identified 7 intelligences at this point, 8 and then 9 intelligences. How many were testing? 2. Okay, so that does not bode well for us to rely on a single score and attach so much negativism to a single low IQ score. And the classification has no educational relevance. It does not inform educator what you should do. All right? Most IQ tests are based on inadequate norm groups. This is true. For one thing here, the people suffering from schizophrenia or other psychological illness, they are less likely to be included in the norm groups. Right? This is true. Okay. So the mean IQ score can only be applied to general public who has no psychological illness, that type of thing. Okay, so this point is important. We should spend less time to predict how special children may perform in traditional classrooms as a result of an IQ score, but instead we should develop more effective instructional procedures that will reach more children, right? And remember what teaching effectiveness, Wahlberg's, the 7 elements of teaching effectiveness. And remember what we have, basic transmitter of knowledge, a way of discovery learning, and interpersonal learning should be a good strategy to start off. Okay, and synthesizing teaching using different methods that are appropriate at the moment and for the person. And of course here, remember the most effective teaching method will be one-on-one private tutoring. Now, no wonder here in the good old time, we had teacher aides, sometimes more than one, in a lot of classrooms, just to handle special children, mainstreamed or included in the regular classroom. We'll talk a little bit more about this. Okay, let's take a look here. Now, Peter Chow published a paper on mainstreaming a long time ago. I can't remember, 1990, I can't remember. Okay, it's what mainstreaming is. What nowadays it's called inclusion, total inclusion. Okay, that is to say, regular classroom should also accommodate special students with special needs. All right, take a look at Evelyn Dino's cascade classification system. All right, so let's take a look here. Now, here, number 7 is what is the most what here serious with serious mental illnesses that requires a homebound instruction or in hospital, residential, or in total care setting. So 6 and 7, 5, 1, a little less serious, and so on. Now here, assignment governed primarily by health, correctional welfare, or other agency. Okay, that's her suggestion. Okay. Now here, look at this here. Number 1 is what is the least serious. That is exceptional children in regular classes with or without supportive services. So this is what is happening nowadays. Okay, it is called mainstreaming or total inclusion. All right. Now it would be nice to have teacher aides in the regular classroom. Okay, it would be nice. Okay. Number 2, regular class attendance plus supplementary instructional services in order to provide more help. All right. Okay. Part-time special class. That is what the health situation or the psychological health situation requires what part-time help as well. Full-time special class, that is to say, those individuals that cannot be accommodated here or even here, so they have to require specific attention. So full-time special class, special stations, so the entire station or institution. Okay, so 1 is very similar to a regular student. 2, a little bit further away. 6, 7, they require they are homebound or require to be institutionalized. All right, so the strategy here is to move this way only as far as necessary. All right, only as far as necessary, and then to return this way as rapidly as feasible, so that to give students hope to return to normal. All right, so this one is a very good system, is that right? But then here move only as far as possible, but return as quickly as possible. Right? So this is a cascade classification system. Teaching strategies for mainstreaming or total inclusion. So all these teaching strategies are not unique to special education students. They are useful with all children, like synthesized teaching, like private tutor and transmitter of knowledge, discovery, learning, right? All those teaching strategies should emphasize diversity in teaching methods employed, as I just mentioned. It depends on the class. Sometimes and also on the conceptual level. Remember ATI, the conceptual level of the student. Right? A highly structured and simple task approach is helpful for students with low CL. Right? And then, of course, here gradually you want to use you want to move, match, mismatch, matching, mismatching. A truly adaptive or individualized instructional system is needed. So this, in the 70s, this is called what? That one. At that time, it was first what they hit on the idea because of the one of the newfound power in computer. Even though compared to today's computer power is negligible, but then they call upon what? Individualized instruction, or CAI, computerized adaptive one instruction. And then of course followed by CAT, computerized adaptive testing. All right, that type of thing. So that would be good, because what that is what? An adaptive instructional system to start where the learner is, like William James, and then what? Proceed with Hunt's notion of what? Matching and mismatching. So let's take a look at some strategies here. Precise teaching. You provide high structure for low CL students and allow what? Allows learner to proceed at own pace for what? Individualized learning situation. Positive reinforcement for accomplishment. Accentuate the positive. All right, always provide what? Provide positive reinforcement. So sometimes just a pat on the shoulder, nodding, smiling would be good enough. Okay, not necessarily a chocolate bar. Okay. Cooperative learning. Remember cooperative learning? That is a lot better than without cooperative learning. Small group activities, group problem solving. Of course, they are called small group problem solving. Now, in a small group situation, the high ability students are given the golden opportunity to articulate their understanding to what? To their group members, in an attempt to help them understand. And what the consequence will be beneficial to the one who is articulating it, right? So and then for the less able students, they what? It is easy, it is what? They could seek help very easily. It's like within a small group. Okay, all it takes is that the high ability student, like what, overhand, grab the hand of the what, of the lower ability student and then raise them up. Okay, it is just like this, all right? So that is the beauty of a small group or situation. Okay, so cooperative learning is very much productive. Tutoring, of course, private tutoring, one-on-one, that is the best teaching method, or most productive, most effective. Social skills training. Remember, we discussed one. We will discuss EI, emotional intelligence. Okay, so social skills can be taught. It can be taught, and you will see this in our discussion on EI. Okay, matching and gradual mismatching. David Hunt's notion. Okay, and this is also what basic Vygotsky's scaffolding was. Scaffolding one technique, the scaffolding theory. Okay, that one. You will provide support. Okay, so matching and gradual mismatching. So matching start where the learner is, gradual mismatching to provide one a tiny knowledge disturbance. It's just to one. It's just to what? To get the learner to what? To learn, okay, because it's not too difficult. Okay, good. So these are some of the teaching some strategies in teaching, in teaching, as well as in teaching special students. Okay. All right. Good. Thank you.